everybody, and good morning. It is Wednesday, September 29th, almost the last day of September, today and tomorrow, and then we are into the beautiful month of October. But good morning. I see lots of you signing in and joining me here for our session, for our intro psych. Oh, no, it's just wet. Or did I? I guess I did get a haircut a little bit last week. I get it like every 3 weeks. I have the sides and the back trimmed. So yes, I guess you are right. You knew and I didn't. But I hope everybody is doing well and hanging in there. I'm enjoying these cool mornings though. Apparently it's going to get quite warm in the next day or two, which is too bad. I don't know about all of you, but I am more than ready for fall. And yeah. Oh, hold on one second. My cat is going to knock over my TV. Rolly. This little chunk. Let's bring him over. Like, this cat here, this chonky little cat, is going to knock over my TV. And we hear a loud crash in the background. What a punk. But anyway, I was saying, I hope everyone is doing well and hanging in there. I have to tell you that I'm getting my voice back today, which is good. Monday and yesterday, my voice was a little weak after all the screaming at the Rams-Bucks game. Sad that the Bucks lost, but Brady was right there. Like I could see him just right there on the field. And then this week he plays the Patriots at Gillette, which is just going to be absolutely entertaining to watch. So the SoFi Stadium, as a side note, was so pretty. Beautiful, beautiful stadium. The screens were amazing. The food, awful. There were so few options, and it wasn't good at all. Even the cookies. I bought multiple cookies throughout the stadium, and I was not impressed. But anyway, it was very fun to go to the game. Yeah, you went there a few weeks ago. Yeah, I loved the stadium. It was stunning. Like, I would totally go back. And our view was amazing, but the food was, it was meh. It wasn't very good. I wasn't impressed. I've been to quite a few stadiums, and I expect it to be expensive, but there just wasn't a whole lot of options. So anyway, yeah, it was fun to go, but it would have been nice if the Bucks had won, but that's okay. So anyway, I'll move on here. Yeah, very pretty. It's a very pretty stadium. Expensive to park. Geez, we paid like over $100 to park somewhere else and walk. But anyway, I would happily go again. Mahomes comes there in December. And I would love to go see that. That would be a lot of fun. But anyway, I will get back on track here. Sorry, I could talk about football for way too long. But we're in week number 7. Really hard to believe that October is in 2 days. But yes, week number 7, I want to talk a little bit about last week. So we'll talk a little bit about the office discussion that you had and some comments about that. I'll give you the reminders for this week, for week number 7, a Twitch extra credit question, and I'll see if you have any questions for me, and then we'll call it a day. So let's head over to Canvas together. And yeah, we are almost to the halfway point of our semester, right? We have 17 weeks and we're in week number 7, so we're getting there, right? It's kind of chugging along here, but let's look at week number 6 before we get to our current week. So last week you were looking at the topic of learning, and again, learning tends to be one of the more challenging topics in this class. There's a lot of terminology, so if you found it to be a little overwhelming or difficult, I hope that you watched all of the videos that I posted for you. I tried to give you lots of examples to help you with what can be a little bit challenging of a topic. But as far as the discussion goes, discussion number 6, you were watching that clip from The Office, a great example of classical conditioning in the form of a prank. This is definitely something that you could do in theory with someone that you live with or a friend or whatever. You can definitely condition some of these things in. But a lot of you got this correct, right? So in the clip, I encourage you to always start with the conditioned stimulus, right? And I said this in the book and in the lecture. You always want to ask yourself when you're thinking about classical conditioning, what was it in this example that started out kind of like neutral or meaningless, and became meaningful by the end of the clip? So in this case, right, in this example, right, the computer chime started out to be like that reboot sound, started out neutral or meaningless. It didn't have much connection. But through repeatedly being offered an Altoid or a mint, whenever that sound went, right, he learns to be conditioned to that sound, right? So offer someone an Altoid, they're going to put their hand out to accept it. That is the unconditioned stimulus and unconditioned response. So being offered the food or the mint, the Altoid, and then putting your hand out or accepting it as a response, and then being offered that and pairing it with that ding sound, that reboot sound. You see him at the end of the clip like stick his hand out like mindlessly to accept the Altoid, right? He had learned to connect those two things together, right, through associating through classical conditioning. You also could have written about that, like expecting like the mint or like a bad taste in his mouth. As long as you were consistent, it was totally fine. Remember that the UR and the CR are always going to be the same. That's the whole point, is that you're conditioning somebody to respond to something else instead of the original stimulus. So for the most part, really well done. A lot of you got the terminology, you got the different breakdown. The place where I saw people struggle a little bit is this last question. I said, other than amusing pranks, describe a way that you could use classical conditioning in your personal, academic, or social life. And a lot of you used operant conditioning examples. And so classical conditioning, remember, is very automatic, involuntary. You don't even always know that it's happening. It's based on association. Anytime you talk about rewarding or punishing a behavior, you're talking about operant conditioning. So if you say, I gave my dog a treat for sitting, that would be operant conditioning. You're rewarding the behavior in hopes that it will happen again. So if you use the words rewarding or punishing, that was a very quick tip-off to me that you were in the wrong type of learning. So that was the biggest reason that people lost points, that or still not responding to a classmate. So remember to always respond to a peer, and overall, really well done. Oh, excuse me. Pretty nicely done. I think a lot of you did a great job, and had good examples, and you identified those components. So we will obviously be, having this on the exam. So if you're still confused on operant and classical conditioning, you might consider going back and rereading the chapter. I have lots of examples in there, or watching the videos or all the examples. But hopefully you're feeling okay about it. Again, most of you did a really nice job on the discussion. So for this week, we move on, right? So we talked about learning, and now we talk about memory. And memory and learning go hand in hand, right? Can you imagine if you had to relearn how to drive every time you got in the car because you couldn't remember what you learned previously? Or you had to relearn how to type or how to read, right? If we don't remember things, our life would be very, very difficult. We wouldn't be able to hold on to all of the stuff that we learned, which is what we talked about last week. So for this week, that is our topic. We're talking a little bit about memory, different types, how it works, and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to want to make sure that you read chapter 7 in the ebook, read through the chapter, and then, of course, watch the lecture video and read through the lecture. So let's take a look at the lecture materials together here. And again, these are just things that I put together to give you kind of an overview and a little bit more interactivity. So, of course, you have your summary, like always, that you can read. Beyond the book, lots of really interesting topics in memory. I just talked a little bit about deja vu here as one of the kind of special topics for memory. An incredible number of movies related to memory, some of them more realistic than others. Finding Nemo, Dory's character, a great example of someone with very poor memory. And then there are movies about memory manipulation, memory loss due to things like Alzheimer's, memory loss due to trauma, like going through a windshield of the car, like in The Vow. lots and lots of different movies related to this, and I just tried to give you a few examples here. On the fourth page here are all the key terms that you need to know for this chapter. So if you had wanted to start preparing for the exam coming up next week, you would, start studying these for this chapter. And then application, I have a little bit here about how to improve your memory. So I made a video about some tips for how to improve your memory. It also kind of highlights your discussion topic for the week. And then a little bit about state and context dependent memory, which can be a little bit interesting and helpful for studying for exams and so on. So lots of, I think, interesting information here about memory. So make sure that you don't only, not only read the book, right, the chapter, but read through and watch everything in the lecture. Watch the lecture video that I made for you. So it is a Zoom link that you can click on. It has the captions and everything available for you there as well. And then the only other thing for this week then would be the discussion and the Twitch extra credit. So let's take a look at the discussion together for this week. So one of the topics for this week is, how we encode, store, and retrieve information in our memory. And so you're going to want to watch this little video. I give you a 28-digit sequence of letters and numbers. And if you were taking this class with me in person, you would have to memorize this for the following class. Luckily for you, you don't have to have that accountability, but it is definitely possible. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I've got a case of the yawns this morning. But you will be working on memorizing a 28-digit sequence of letters and numbers, and then writing about how you would do that in order, right? So if you had no way of writing this down or recording this information, and you had to rely solely on your memory, how would you hold on to this if it was just a matter of seconds? And what might you do differently if you were trying to hold on to this for a matter of days? And so in the video I came up with a story about The Walking Dead, which isn't, all that accurate, but still, I came up with a story and I shared that with you in the video, so make sure you watch that. But you'll be giving me your examples and techniques of how you would hold on to it. You'll describe some strategies that could help you for studying for the exam, linking to the lecture and the textbook. And then, do you have any personal tips for memory that you might like to share? Are there any strategies that you tend to use for remembering things, and what are they? So I'm just thinking about a few different topics related to memory. So as soon as you're ready and you have your thoughts all gathered up, you will hit reply and you can go ahead and respond to my question. And then you'll see, so we have one person who did it so far, and then you would reply as well to appear to get those 2 points for doing that. So make sure that you're not only reacting and replying to my questions, but also to one of your classmates. So those are, again, the kind of main things for this week. It's a very kind of usual, typical week for us of reading the chapter, reading the lecture, and watching the lecture video, and then doing the discussion and the Twitch extra credit. Next week, we do have exam number 2. So not an awful idea if you wanted to start preparing for that a little bit. Remember that in each lecture, so if I click on chapter 7 again, in each lecture you can click on the key terms and review, and you can review all of the terms for that chapter. So it might be a good idea to get started on that a little bit now. As we talk about in this chapter, doing a little bit at a time tends to be much more successful than cramming. Someone said, I memorized it on Monday and it's still in my brain, so that speaks to the effectiveness of some of these methods, considering I already don't remember what I ate for dinner last night. I had to think about it too. I was like, chicken? Cheddar cheese chicken and potatoes and corn. Sounds very healthy, doesn't it? But yeah, if you are motivated to remember something, you can hold on to it, right? If somebody gives you a phone number and you want to remember that number, you will. And so a lot of memory has to do with motivation and then little techniques that you can use. So that's great that you still have it in your mind. You might hold on to it for a lot longer than you meant to. So I'm sorry for that. If some of you have this sequence of letters and numbers in your head for months, I apologize. So like I was saying, it might not be a bad idea to start preparing for the exam, but we'll talk more about that next week. We'll spend some time during our stream next week going over the study guide and some tips and suggestions like we did before. But that is coming up next week if you wanted to start thinking ahead. Are there any thoughts, comments, or questions? I'm putting that in the chat here. Any thoughts, comments, or questions at all? I have a couple of kind of little reminders for you before I give you the extra credit question. But just any thoughts, questions, comments, anything at all? While I'm waiting for you to see if there are a couple of things on my end here. Okay, thank you for putting your name, Ricky. That's perfect. Our next Twitch live stream, so when I see you next, will be on Wednesday next week. Wednesday, which is October what? I think it's the 6th. Let's check here really quick. I can't believe that next week is October. October's in like 2 days. So yes, October 6th. So Wednesday 10/6 at 8:30 in the morning. So that will be our next Twitch live stream. Wednesdays like usual, just so that we can count on and rely on that. Next Wednesday morning, October 6th at 8:30 in the morning. I also want to remind you, and a couple of you asked me if I could show you how to do this. And now I finally can, because my Twitch subscription is over, and so I can resubscribe. So I'm going to put this in the chat. Don't forget to check every week. As I mentioned, an incredible amount of you fell off about a week or two ago, and not very many of you renewed. So I'm definitely seeing a big difference in how many of you are on my sheets that I download when we're done. So if you have the ability to renew that, it definitely makes my life easier. I really appreciate that. And it probably makes your life easier too, in the sense that you don't have to remember to put your name and you don't get the ads. But let me show you. A couple of you asked me and I wasn't able to show you, but now I can. So if we head over to Twitch and go to my channel. So if you head to my channel on Twitch, my Psyched with Setmire channel, I have to go to somebody else's to show you. So I'm going to go... I don't think I could show you on mine. So on my channel here, you'll notice there's this drop down right here. And if you click on that, it will open up. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, all the way down, see, like, oh, see, I can't subscribe to myself. So let me show you on my friend's channel here. So if this were my channel, let's pretend it is. There's this little purple button, and so
when you have a little happy smile on your face,
let's mute that. Love the ads, right? So if you click on this drop down and then you scroll all the way down, you'll see how it says right here, use Prime sub, and it's hidden all the way at the bottom. I think they don't necessarily want you to always use this. It costs them money, I'm sure. But if you scroll all the way down here at the bottom, you'll click use Prime sub. And then you see subscribe for free for 1 month with Prime. And so if you hit that, that will allow you to resubscribe for 30 more days, right? Ad-free viewing, sub-only chat, right? You get all sorts of those little benefits that we've talked about. But just to show you where that is, so one more time, for those of you who asked me, on my channel, and I'm showing you on a friend's here so I can show you, you click on this, and then scroll all the way down, click use Prime sub, and then subscribe for free. So I just wanted to show you that in case you were still curious how you could get there. Otherwise, as I said, those are the big reminders. Our next stream will be next week. Let me give you the Twitch extra credit question. Thank you, Dylan, for giving me your name. And again, make sure that you have given me your first and last name, unless you're subscribed, and then you don't have to worry about it. So let me give you the extra credit question for today. Something that you will find in the lecture video that I have for you. So the Twitch extra credit question is, what does 7 plus or minus 2 refer to in terms of memory? So what does 7 plus or minus 2 refer to when we're talking about memory? And I put that here in the chat. So if you go over to Canvas, go back to Canvas, you'll click on the Twitch extra credit number 7 link right here, since we're in week number 7. And then at the top, you'll hit Start Assignment. And when it brings up this box down here, this is where you will type your response. And then when you're done and ready, you'll hit Submit Assignment, confetti burst, right, and you're all done. So you can do this anytime before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Remember that if you do it early, I do kind of grade them throughout the week. So if you get it wrong, I will let you know and you can try again. But yes, that is due anytime before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Get going on the other stuff for this week, right? Make sure you read the chapter, do the discussion, watch all the videos and all the materials that I have for you. And I think that is everything for now. Are there any questions, thoughts, comments, anything at all that you want to share or ask before we run out of time? Again, don't forget to try and check on that subscription status if you can, just to save us all that effort. Thank you so much for doing that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm going to Legoland this weekend. I'm like, if I were in person, I would ramble about that to you. So why not here? My kids are 7, 7, and 9. And we are going to brick or treat at Legoland, which should be a lot of fun. So they get to dress up in their little costumes and go around and get candy that I will, of course, I have to make sure it's safe. I mean, I want to be a good parent, right? So I'm going to, sample and test their candy for them throughout the night. I can't wait. But yeah, it's a great fun thing. We did it a couple of years ago, brick or treat, and it's all in the dark, and they'll be dressed up, and dance parties for them, little kid raves where they can dance to music with lighting. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Oh yeah, and they're in the prime Legoland years, right? They love the roller coasters and all the stuff there, and so do I. Legoland has good food. That's important to me with a theme park, and apparently a stadium too, right? I love when they have good food. Special brownies at Legoland. Can you imagine? Yeah, no thank you. But they do actually have really good Rice Krispie treats at Legoland. That's my favorite thing to eat there. They have really, really good Rice Krispie treats. So if you ever go to Legoland, look for the Rice Krispie treats. Right? That's my favorite thing there. So, but yeah, I hope all of you are hanging in there. I hope you're doing something fun. We're in October in 2 days. Time to decorate and start eating your Halloween candy. I have way too much of it. I'm already building my tolerance for the holidays. So anyway, I will hang out for a little bit. If any of you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Or of course you can email me if you think of them later in the week. But have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care of yourselves and hang in there. And I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while if you have any questions or for me. And when we're done here, I forgot to mention, I will post the recording of this right here underneath the extra credit. I'll post that. It takes a couple hours, but I will get that up for you as we go through the day. So have a wonderful week. Have a great day. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate seeing your names and comments. It's really nice to see you all. I really do enjoy it. So have a great week. And I will see you all next Wednesday morning for our next stream. Week number 8 stream next week. Thank you all as well. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Thank you, Linda. I will. We're staying at the Castle Hotel, which is always fun. They have a great breakfast too. If you notice, this is all I care about here. I'm like, they have good food everywhere we go. That makes for a good trip. But thank you so much. Thank you, and I will see you all next week. And I am still here, everyone. If you have any questions, I'll hang out for another minute or two, and then after that, you can always email me, of course.